This is the Four Wheel Parts Down and Dirty Show Off-Road Edition, powered by Polaris RZR. We're taking it back to the roots, getting dirty and covering all things off-road, because pavement, well, that's for it's gloves off, in your face, on the edge, and the way off-road should be. We're your definitive source for all things dirt.
4WP is more than a store. We're truck and Jeep experts and have been for over 50 years. From wheel and tire upgrades to full custom builds, 4WP has you covered. Whether you want to order the best parts online or shop in store, do the work yourself, or get it done by a pro, all roads lead to 4WP. Do your rig right. Shop online or find your store at 4WP.com.
Welcome to the Four Wheel Parts Down and Dirty Show Off-Road Edition, powered by Polaris RZR. I'm Jim Beaver here, keeping it real, talking off-road. You know, this is the one where I get to talk about all the things I love. Well, I love a lot of motorsports. We cover that in the national show. Right here, though, it's all about the dirt with a capital D. Yes, I am Jim Beaver, and we've got another fun show. Guest today, my good friend Matt Martelli. Mint 400, it is on TV this weekend on World of X Games, so we got him on to talk about that. But this is like 45-minute interview, and that was a very, very small portion of it. We talk about all things off-road. I think you guys are really, really going to have a lot of fun. Anytime you got Matt on, man, he doesn't pull any punches. He tells it like it is, and if you're an off-road fan, you want to be told like it is. Straight shooting, right to the jugular. That is what you're getting today right here on the Four Wheel Parts Off-Road Edition. So, yes, welcome to the show. Thank you guys for tuning in for the first time. Hey, go back, check out the archives. We got some bangers already, and we're only 10, 11 episodes into this new podcast. My national show, man, we're approaching episode number 400. So we've been doing this a while. Project Action, my show on Podcast One. Pretty long time, too. I think we're approaching maybe 150, 200 episodes on that one. So, yeah, we've been doing this just a bit. But, yes, thank you guys again. And, before we roll into things, we got a little bit of off-road news. Obviously big news, Score announcing their schedule for 2020, first major off-road series to do so. Applaud Score for doing that. It was funny. I got into, me, I like to poke the bear a little bit, got into a little bit of a fun argument on Race Desert's Facebook page. Big Score announcement, this and that Score. So, it's the San Felipe 250, the Baja 500, the Baja 400, and the Baja 1000. And, it's called the World Desert Championship. I posted on there, just poking the bear like I do. I said, World Championship? I said, like you've got 4 races all in Baja. 3 of them start at the same spot. 3 of them every 2 years run the exact same track, give or take some mileage. And I said, on the 3rd year, the Baja 1000 actually runs point to point. But I'm like, World Championship of what? I said, this is like the Baja Championship. This is the Championship of Baja. I'm like, you don't run in the United States. You don't run anywhere else. World Championship? Come on, man. We're running out of the same town. Well, this got everybody fired up in the off-road community, right? They're all commenting and everything else and like power players, And I'm like, well, I'm just calling a spade here. And, everybody's like, oh, but this is the premier series. I'm like, I'm not saying it's not. I also think you're discrediting Dakar and FIA and, their Rally Raid series. And they've got, Baja Rally, and they've got all kinds of stuff. Best in the Desert here in the States, what the Martelli's got with the Mint 400. I'm just saying, Score may be the premier desert series, but I don't know. That's arguable because I think Best in the Desert, clips them on entries at a lot of races. And, and actually 6,100, the entry list is deeper in Best in the Desert. UTV, deeper in Best in the Desert. Actually, most classes other than Trophy Truck, it's deeper in Best in the Desert. And at Vegas to Reno and a couple other events, it's deeper at Best in the Desert. So, I think minus the 500 and the 1,000 and maybe San Felipe. The thing about San Felipe is everybody loves San Felipe, but it's not actually that good of a freaking race. Like, it sucks. It's beat up. It's haggard. People want to complain about the Mint 400, right? And they're like, oh, all that is Prim, and it's a bunch of whoops. And, all the Martellis did was they put lipstick on a pig. It's just literally 400 miles of Prim. That's nothing special. Newsflash. San Felipe is like the Mint 400 of Mexico. It literally is just a bunch of whoops and it's beat up. Now, don't get me wrong. Everybody loves San Felipe. We love Pete's Camp. We love the beach. We love the tacos. We love the beer. We love the ocean. I love everything about San Felipe except for the race course. Nobody likes San Felipe. And if they tell you they do, they are lying to your face. Nobody goes, I can't wait to go run the San Felipe 250 because I just love that race course. Sorry, not happening. Nobody likes San Felipe. Well, we all love San Felipe, but nobody likes the race course. 500 and the 1,000, absolutely. I love the Baja 500 race course. San Felipe, those whoops, sorry. I don't care. You know, you start talking about Matomi Wash and stuff like that. Sorry, like, not my idea of fun. Yeah, like, I'll go and do it. I like that race, and I haven't done it in probably a decade. I like it because it's a challenge. I don't actually like the course. Like King of the Hammers. Nobody likes King of the Hammers. Everybody likes the challenge of King of the Hammers. There's a big, big difference there. I like the 500 because I actually like the race course. I like the Parker 425 because I actually like the race course. Mint 400? Hell no. Hate that course. No way. No way. San Felipe, same vote. Argue with me. I would love this one. San Felipe, it is the Mint 400 of Mexico. Tell me I'm wrong. I would love to hear from you guys. At Jim Beaver 15, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. Hit me up. Let me know. Argue with me. Anyways, going back to my original point. Score, World Championship. No, I'm sorry. You can call it World Desert Championship, whatever. If you were to call the Baja 1000 a winner-take-all World Championship race, absolutely, I am on board. I would call it the Baja 1000 World Championship, just like they do at Crandon. Nobody argues with Crandon. Crandon's been there for 50 years. It is the greatest short course race on the planet. Nobody is going to argue that. That's why Labor Day weekend, they've been there for 50 years, and they have World Championship and World Cup Sunday, right? Because it's Crandon, nobody's going to argue. If they were to call the short course series in the Midwest the World Championship of Short Course, nope, not happening. Sorry, pause, stop. Same thing with Score. If they were to say the Baja 1000, we are going to give you a big fat ring, like some blinged out ring when you win the Baja 1000 in your class, and we're going to call you the world champ, boom, done. Signed, sealed, delivered, yes. But you cannot call the entire series the World Championship. You can't. You can have a one-off World Championship race. You can't call the entire series that because, let's face it, like the Baja 400, what is that in September? You know, that's a phone-in race. Like, it's in its second year. Like, they're going to get entries. Like, it's Baja, and it's part of the 500 course. Like, it's a fun course. Everybody likes Ensenada. I'd rather go to San Felipe. But, you know, I like the course better in Ensenada, run out of Ensenada. But, like, you know, that is not a World Championship caliber race. I'm sorry. It's been around for 2 years. It just doesn't happen. You know, and I've had people tell me, oh, World Series, right? Well, you know, baseball, it's just in the United States World Series. And, you know, you're a baseball fan, Jimmy. Yeah, you know, it's just the United States and one team out of Canada. You know what? They shouldn't be able to call it the World Series. I agree. You know why? Japanese has a major league, their own pro series or, pro baseball league. You know, and there's some damn good players coming out of Japan, Cuba, Dominican Republic, Mexico, right? I mean, all of these people, you know, they're players in baseball. You know, Cuba, I don't know if I mentioned them, but, you know, there's some really, really good talent. So, like, World Series, yeah, like, let's have the best team out of Major League Baseball and have a mini bracket every year and have, you know, San Felipe. God, I'm losing my mind here. Japan and all these other countries, you know, and have a mini tournament. Then declare, hey, we won the World Series. That's your World Series right there with the best of the best from each of those. Like, Score, sorry, you know, you don't get to call yourself the World Championship. And am I ever going to get an invite to do anything, Score? No. But just call facts here, right here on the Four Wheel Parts Down and Dirty Show Off-Road Edition. And that's not taking anything away from Score. I love Score. I applaud the media package Roger Norman has brought to the table. Man, he has done some amazing. I mean, everybody loves Sal Fish, right? And Sal was a racer's racer. He was, everybody loved him. But Roger, I mean, he with this TV package, this is crazy good. I mean, with World of X Games, you cannot discount what Roger Norman has done for the sport of off-road. You know, he's the live streaming that they're doing from Ensenada and Baja. Like, seriously, man, this guy has done a whole heck of a lot. I just don't agree with calling it the World Championship. Sorry, man. Baja 1000, I'd say, hey, we got a winner-take-all World Championship race every November. If you're a desert racer and you want to be the best of the best, you go to the Baja 1000, you win, and you're a badass, and you're the world champ for that year. Boom. I am on board there right now. But don't make me run a bunch of donkey races to get to the Baja 1000, and because the truth is you got guys that run all year long, and and they just poke around and they get 5th, 6th, 7th place, but they finish every single race and then they're the champion, and so they're the world champion. Nah, they're not the best. The best is the dude that won the Baja 1000. Boom. That is your best of the best right there. So why Crandon has been so successful, they don't make you run the whole Midwest deal. You show up Labor Day weekend, you get a chance to be the world champ. Boom. So I don't know. That's my thoughts on it. I'm sure this is going to stir up all kinds of turmoil on the internet. I guess that's what I'm good for, right? Anyways, yes, if you got some turmoil, you like to talk, it is at Jim Beaver 15. Make sure and go over to iTunes, subscribe to the show. It's Down and Dirty Show feed. You'll get my national show, and you'll also get this podcast. I've also got my podcast there, Project Action on Podcast One, that drops later in the week, kind of celebrities and things like that. All kinds of fun. Anyways, yeah, we've got a lot to talk about, too. Before we go to this break, I got a couple of partners. Obviously, my good friends, you'll hear the commercial, mymedic.com. If you're looking for a first aid kit, if you're an off-road guy like me, you're a hunter, fisherman, outdoor person, man, you got to have a good first aid kit, man. And these aren't just any first aid kits. These are first aid kits that will actually save your life. mymedic.com, coupon code Jim Beaver, and it will get you 15% off your order at mymedic.com. Also, got a little teaser. We're going to roll it all out in Project Action, and I'm going to have the link up tomorrow on the website and on social media and stuff. But I got some good friends over at BattleBox, and I don't know if you guys know what BattleBox is, but it's like the subscription service for guys, right? And this is it's a monthly box we get in the mail, and this is actually rad stuff. I'm literally, as we speak, looking at it right now. I've got a couple of knives in here. I've got a game camera. Got a mini first aid kit. Got these candy bars with caffeine in them. I got a camping utensil set. Got this miniature screwdriver set that's actually really good stuff. It's not like Harbor Freight junk, but it's all stuff you can throw in a backpack. Like, this is real deal stuff. So check them out, BattleBox. And if you want the discount and if you want the link to get a discount on it, you're going to have to tune into my social media and tune into Project Action later in the week. But BattleBox, mymedic.com, a couple of our great partners. We are going to take a short break. When we come back, my man Matt Martelli on the line right here on the Full Parts Down and Dirty Show Off-Road Edition, powered by Polaris RZR. You want extreme performance, reliability, and the most fun you can have on four wheels? The Polaris RZR brings it to you. But you don't need to take my word for it. You can take theirs.
I'm Tanner Faust, and I choose the Polaris RZR because it's the most fun you can have with a steering wheel.
What's up? I'm Ronnie Renner, and I choose Polaris RZR because it's the sickest, most reliable side-by-side on the planet.
What's up, everybody? Heavy D from Diesel Brothers. Listen, I'm on Team RZR because it's hands down the best piece of machinery on the planet.
I'm RJ Anderson, and I choose Polaris RZR because it's the most fun, most capable machine.
Action sports stars, TV personalities, and some of the best race car drivers in the world all choose Polaris RZR because it's the ultimate combination of power, suspension, agility, and fun. Find out more information on the web at PolarisRZR.com or follow at Polaris RZR on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, and use the hashtag RZRLife to share your story. When looking for a new wheel for your off-road vehicle, car, truck, or UTV, the choice is easy. You choose what the pros use. Rob McCachran, Keegan Kincaid, and myself, Jim Beaver, all exclusively use Vision Wheel, whether we're dominating Baja, taking the cup at Crandon, or shredding UTVs. Vision Wheel's trend-setting designs and durability will set you apart from the competition and your friends. Check out VisionWheel.com or at Vision Wheel on social media to learn more. Anywhere is possible. It's more than just a slogan. Anywhere is possible with General Tire's wide variety of tires for whatever it is that you drive. Whether you're looking for off-road capability balanced with impressive on-road performance or ultra-high performance offering all-season traction designed with a driving enthusiast in mind, General Tire has what you need to get where you're going. General Tire, providing anywhere as possible with a Down and Dirty radio show since 2012. Do you race or are you a weekend warrior? Have you checked on the date on your helmet recently? Don't get caught off guard by using an outdated helmet. Impact Racing, the leader in motorsport safety, has new SA 2015 helmets to fit your budget. Whether you're looking for a helmet with a full carbon fiber shell to take you to victory at the Indy 500 or just looking for some helmets for a weekend at Glamis, Impact Racing has a helmet for you. Find out more information at impactraceproducts.com or on Facebook at Impact Safety. Super ATV is the industry leader in aftermarket UTV and ATV parts and accessories. Super ATV products are designed, engineered, tested, and manufactured right here by Super ATV. Whether you're looking to upgrade your suspension, get stronger axles, or you're looking for a new winch to get you out of a tough spot, Super ATV has what you're looking for. And since we know you're in a hurry, we offer fast, free shipping to the lower 48 states on all orders. Visit superatv.com now and get your UTV or ATV dialed in. I'd like to welcome my guest this week to the show, or one of my guests, my good friend Matt Martelli with Mad Media, the Mint 400 UTV World Championship, man of many, many hats. Matt, welcome to the show, my friend.
Hey, thanks a lot, Jimmy. I'm super stoked to always be on here, you know?
Yeah, I know. It's one of those now. Shoot, I'm doing 3 shows a week. Seems like we've been catching up a little more frequently. I know we had you on, the off-road show here a couple of weeks ago. But, man, I know you were just talking before we got on air about Cranon. We'll talk about that in a minute. Obviously, I don't know, man, Cranon, Mint 400, we got a couple, marquee events. And I know Mint, happened a couple weeks ago. But that leads us to this weekend, and I know the debut's happening, or the premiere. Man, this is exciting stuff for off-road. I mean, to me, this is like the 1 or 2 times a year where some of our biggest and best events, I mean, they go mainstream. We've got TV packages for all these races, but there's a few races that have the premier TV package. Mint 400 this weekend, man, it is one of them.
Yeah, I mean, we've been really fortunate. We've been consistently on national television now for almost 10 years and reaching out to, new eyeballs. And a couple of years ago, we put together the deal for World of X on ABC. And, it's great. It exposes us to a whole new audience of people and a lot of young people, which is really what we were after. So we're pretty stoked. The show is just outstanding. I got to watch it, obviously, before it went to the network. And, one thing that I can say is we squeezed a lot of stuff in an hour show. And I think a lot of the classes that are missed by other shows are going to be stoked because we talk about everybody. We give everybody some coverage. It's not just, a unlimited truck show. It delves down into some of the other classes that are also important in off-road, such as Class 10, even Class 11, so Jeep Speed, and a few other classes that had really good battles going on. So, off-road is about the little guys too. So make sure we gave them some love. So I think everybody's going to enjoy it. It's going to be 1:30 Pacific on ABC, this Saturday. So if you're in the Temecula area, or in the Southern California area, come to Temecula. We're going to have a little premiere at Dofo Winery. Really cool winery. Guy has a massive collection of motorcycles there. I actually just got introduced to it through the Caselli Foundation. So it's just a cool spot to get everybody together and watch the Great American Off-Road Race.
Yeah, you know what I find interesting about this whole conversation? We'll talk more about the Mint and the TV package and stuff like that, but you mentioned World of X Games, and you and I, we're about the same age, man, and we grew up as action sports kids, and I think we're probably the first generation to really grow up with action sports, because before then, like surfing, skating, it was all kind of really fringe sports and in its infancy, right? But I think in the 80s, stuff really kind of started to hit its stride, and then rolling into the 90s, I mean, you got the Dave Mears and the Tony Hawks and things like that, and we had legends before that, but I mean, this is when things really got mainstream. But I find it funny because, I mean, X Games has been an institution for years for action sports. And you talk about World of X, and you talk about guys like you and I who have grown up with action sports. I mean, it was a part of my life. Every day I'd get out of school, and it was on my BMX bike or on my skateboard, and it was like, hey, where are we riding today? What parking lot are we shredding, And this is before skate parks were in every town, But I look at guys like us now, and we are still, like, I still ride my longboard. I still surf when I'm near the ocean. I still go to the skate park on my bike with my daughter a couple times a month. But, like, I find it interesting that X Games and this whole world of X Games, now they've taken people like us who grew up in action sports, and now they're really, like, motorsports has become a part of X Games. It's become a part of World of X. And I think it's really interesting because you and I have always considered things like off-road and action sport or an action motorsport, but now I feel like X Games has really kind of embraced, you know, what we've seen for years, you know?
Yeah, no, it's really cool. It's one of those things that, you know, for us, again, like you were explaining, it's always been connected. And for a lot of the athletes, it was a natural way to extend their careers and to go into desert racing or short course. But it was something that everybody did. You know, we skated, we surfed, we went snowboarding, and we went to the desert and we went racing. You know, so it was part of especially Southern California culture, but definitely connected to action sports culture. And I think that, you know, going back to, you know, the very first motorsport that was brought to X Games, which, you know, we had a hand in, which was rally. And, well, that was fun and cool. The whole time I'm sitting there going, hey, guys, this is cool, but I need to show you a trophy truck, you know?
Yeah.
And so to me, it's kind of this inevitable thing that why wouldn't they? You know, many of the same consumers are consuming off-road racing and off-road culture, and so why wouldn't they? So to me, it's been one of these things that should have happened a long time ago. We're stoked for the opportunity, but I really think it's great because it's exposing the sport to new eyeballs and the right eyeballs. It's young people. You know, it's people that will come and actually do this versus, you know, people that are just spectating and not going to participate. So it's been a good relationship with X Games and this whole project. And, you know, we're excited. We were one of their highest rated shows last year, and I think the show this year is going to do even better.
Yeah. Well, and here's a question. This is just switching gears. You and I are going to go down rabbit holes today, I can tell already. But, I mean, you have been – you and I would say, you know, and there's a lot of other people. I don't want to say you and I and just isolate us and say we're eye on the horse. But you and I have been massive supporters of rally in the United States. You know what I mean? Like, I've been at events. You've been at events. Like, you and I are some of the biggest advocates of rally. And, you know, I go out to a stage rally. You know, you've been out to them. You know, and I watch, and I'm like, man, this is so eerily close to a desert race. I mean, obviously there's stages and things like that, but just the culture around it. And they have their diehard fan base. But I feel like us in the Southwest, like, we've finally, you know, we've started getting some mainstream coverage. The non-endemics are starting to come in, and a big part of that is, you know, some of what you and your brother have done. But I mean, we're starting to hit our stride. I mean, we're getting the mainstream network TV and stuff like that. And then I look at rally, and not only rally and rallycross, Matt, but I mean, they've had two of the biggest names, you know, in the world in action sports, being Ken Block and Travis Pastrana. And I feel like, man, they're continuing to struggle. I mean, this is just you and I as buddies talking here. I mean, what do you think, you know, why is it that off-road has found its niche and it's found its stride, you know, and it's like rally is, you know, it has some victories, but I feel like it's continued to struggle a little bit.
Well, I think that the recent successes that rally had that turned into failures, and let's point out, you know, rallycross in particular, is unfortunately that wasn't being run or created to showcase rally per se. That was being run by people who had come over from pavement racing, you know, and were looking to, you know, capture the next greatest thing and make money on it, which there's nothing wrong with that, but they missed the point, you know, and here's the thing that's different about us is that we live and breathe this. And I can tell you, you know, who built the car, why it's special, you know, why that particular vehicle is remarkable, and they can't. And so they're not of the culture. They're just people who have showed up and you know, trying to capitalize on something that's hot. And I'm not speaking of everybody in rally. I'm just speaking of that particular situation. But it becomes indicative of the whole part of rally where, you know, you have a lot of really passionate people that are involved in it, but they aren't calling the shots. And so that's what's critical and different about us, you know, on our side and the off-road world. It's like, we're going to continue to push forward and build remarkable events and remarkable content and do all sorts of things to showcase and unlock the value of off-road racing and off-road culture, because we're in charge, right? Like, we answer to the sponsors, we answer to the racers, and we answer, to the spectators, but, we know how to make a remarkable off-road race course because we're racers, right? And I don't think that is the same with rally. And I think rally's a little bit more difficult to sell because it's not as visceral as off-road. I mean, look, you compare a rally car at the highest level to a trophy truck. In America, the trophy truck's going to win, as far as winning audience, right? Yeah. Now, I'm a huge advocate and a fan for rally, and I want to see it succeed. It needs to succeed, and I think it would benefit everybody in off-road as well. But, the people calling the shots have to be people that are passionate about the culture and the sport, because if they're not, and it's just being run by a spreadsheet, it's not going to succeed. That type of that side of the business will come later. But if you go back into the history of all the successful motorsports now, when they were launching Formula One and when they were launching Le Mans and when they were launching Daytona, it seemed crazy. People were like, this is bonkers. But, those people that created that and that started it, they are the dreamers. And they were right. They gave everybody something to get excited about, and I think that's where we're at in off-road as well, is that, we've got something that's really special and really valuable, and we know it. And our goal is just to expose it to more people and raise the value. And when I say raise the value, I mean the value to sponsors, the value to spectators, the value to racers. It's not one or the other, because you can't ruin it and be like, hey, yeah, it's great for the sponsors, but the racers hate it, or vice versa. That's the challenge with Baja. It's like, hey, all the racers love it, but how do you quantify it, right? So I think rally has a lot of the same challenges where, it's a difficult race to expose. But I have faith. I think there's a lot of good racers and there's a lot of good people involved. And, we're looking as to how we become involved again. We were heavily involved years ago, and we decided to focus on our backyard and off-road. And obviously that's worked out with the Mint 400 UTV World Championship and everything else we've accomplished. But no, I think rally's going to grow. It just needs the right people aligned and leading it.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. And it's, I talk to people in rally consistently and on a weekly basis, it seems like. And, I feel like it's turning a corner. I just think, I think that, they've kind of looked in the mirror and went, oh, we do have some issues here, and I think that's one of the biggest things, in anything. You've got to look yourself in the mirror once in a while when things aren't working right. And you got to have that tough conversation with yourself, and I think a lot of people fail to do that. I know I do it quite frequently. I know you do it quite frequently. And it's like, just because we think a certain way doesn't necessarily mean it's right. So we need to be able to take the input from the people who might be able to help us out. And I feel like, you and your brother have been highly successful at that. I mean, I just look at the changes at the Mint. You guys, you always try and put your best foot forward, and you'll be the first to admit sometimes, hey, we made a mistake. We stumbled here. How do we get better? And you put it out to the off-road community. I mean, you guys are very active, like, hey, we want your input. We want your advice. How do we make this better?
Yeah, I mean, look, this is the thing. And again, this is where I think we're different, and we want the future of off-road culture to be different. We jumped onto this side because, off-road racing was being run by 70-year-old men. And there's nothing wrong with being 70, but, when your mindset is just, hey, this is the way we've always done it, that's a trap. And so, I don't walk around professing to know everything. And I want to be based in reality, so I'll take input from racers and other promoters and, and spectators. I both me and my brother and Jillian, who works with us, we all look at that stuff and we try and respond. I mean, obviously I can't respond to every single thing, but, we try and respond and show people that we respect them and we respect the fact that they're racing with us or that they're, they're buying tickets or they're, buying merchandise, whatever it is, however they're contributing, we respect them and we'll listen to what they're saying. And I think that's a big difference, is that, the old school mentality was, hey, we know everything and this is the way it's always been. And I don't buy that. We constantly look outside of off-road racing at other events, other motorsports events, concerts, hell, we look at Coachella and how do we integrate things that Coachella has been successful doing, we've turned into like event nerds, now I go every place I go to, I'm like, oh, look at what they're doing here. In fact, that's how, a couple of weeks ago during Father's Day, I went to this winery, because I was with the in-laws and they're like, hey, this winery has motorcycles. Well, I walk in and there's like 600 motorcycles on display. I mean, just amazing collection of bikes and 2 Caselli's bikes. And I'm like, how do I not know about this place? It's literally in Temecula in my backyard, and they have good wine too. I mean, you got 2 things I love there, bikes and wine, right? How can you go wrong? So, I called them up and I said, hey, I'd like to have a mid 400 premiere there. Our show is airing this weekend. And the guy called me back immediately. He said that would be my honor to have you guys come do the premiere here. It was really cool. So it's going to be fun, So we just, back to your comment. I mean, we're not doing this for us necessarily. We're doing this for everybody, and we're trying to grow the sport, grow the culture, and bring value to it, and show the world how bitchin' this is. I mean, nobody knows about this, It's so funny. It's like, as I travel and I show people stuff, they're blown away. And I'm like, you've never heard of this? No, I've never heard of off-road racing. I don't know what the Mint 400 is. I don't know what Baja is. I don't know what these vehicles are. I mean, we barely exist in the world of racing, let alone sports globally. So we've got a lot of work to do, and that's a good thing. That gives us a huge upside.
Yeah. Well, and that being said, you're like me. I mean, you've been fortunate to go to just about every kind of motorsport in this country, and so have I, especially now, and I can go to the Indy 500 or I can go to Charlotte Motor Speedway, and I did go into Charlotte because now we've got all these off-road kids, Sheldon Creed, Riley Herb, Zane Smith, Haley Deegan, who are actually going up the NASCAR ladder, and they've got the dirt background, which I love going to, Charlotte Motor Speedway, and here's Troy Herbst, and we're talking Baja and things like that, and I find that absolutely amazing. But like, you and I have been able to be these ambassadors for off-road, and it's like I can go to Indianapolis Motor Speedway, and here is some of the greatest race car drivers on the planet, and and I've got to know them all personally. We're not sitting there talking about Indy. They're all talking about, hey, how do we get into a trophy truck? How do we go off-road racing? They all want to get into off-road. I talked to Ryan Turk last week, and I said, Turk, I said, you're this OG from Formula D. You're still at the top of your game. What's next? And he goes, I want to go off-road racing, man. Here's this guy. He's a factory Toyota guy in drifting, and he wants to come to the desert.
No, they all do. I mean, they've all got a job, and they're all stoked and that they get to race for their job, but they all know, I mean, that's the thing, is like, what we do, I believe, is undeniable. And so my job is to take that product and unlock the value globally, do it domestically in the US, but also do it globally. We have more and more opportunities coming up, and, it really impressed upon me when I went to Dakar 2 years ago and saw, the scale of their event. It was very, very impressive. But I left there kind of embarrassed, because I was like, this guy started Dakar 20 years after the Baja 1000, yet he surpassed it in scale. So what are we doing wrong? And I also look at it and I go, our vehicles are way more exciting than their vehicles. I think they have a lot of really cool technology and a lot of really cool vehicles, but it ain't a trophy truck, and it's not even a class 1 car, and so it's like, we need to do a better job of showing the world what we have here, because it is really cool and it is really special. And to me, it's sacred, it's what I grew up doing. and people talk about, all the different things they're into. I'm basically into I guess a few things, but action sports and MMA and off-road racing. That's it, man. You talk to me about baseball, my eyes glaze over. The only thing I'm actually learning a lot more about the Dodgers because
you and everybody else, right?
The owner bought a Jimco and he's racing, and that's again the proof. It's like that guy gets out of the car, and and Robbie Pierce goes, "Hey, what do you think?" And he goes, "This is the coolest thing in the world," right? And he's right.
Yeah. Well, and how rad is that? I mean, here's the owner of the Dodgers, and I've got to do a little bit of work with them in that, the fastball program behind the scenes. But, dude, like, this guy could go and do anything in the world he wanted. And I mean literally anything. He's, and
he does.
Yeah, and, he's choosing to be, in the wilds of Baja in a spec trophy truck. Like, I think that is the biggest endorsement when you've got a guy like that who can do anything in the world, and he's choosing to be here with us. Like, how rad is that?
No, I totally agree with you. And just the little time that I've spent with him, he's impressed that upon me. He's like, this is a guy who can do anything he wants. He has that level of money, and he does. But all he wants to do now is race more and have more experiences like this, and it just shows you the value of what we're doing, and it's a good reminder to not forget about how high that value is.
Yeah, no, I completely agree, man. So, I know moving forward, we'll talk a little bit more about the Mint TV show coming up, but I know, obviously we had you and your brother on, I don't know, what was it, about 2 months ago, when kind of the announcement was made, Mint 400 UTV World Championship going independent in 2020. You guys kind of explained the reasoning and things like that behind it, but I know Mint 400 dates, I know got a blast out that Mint 400 dates are in stone for 2020. But looking at the UTV Worlds, I mean, what's next for those events? Because I know you and your brother, and the day after those events wrap up, you guys are already planning for the next year.
Yeah, no, it's we just wanted to get some clarity out there on the dates, and it was funny is we actually had announced the dates the minute we got approval from our new permit, which was a couple months ago. No, we're going to do more events, stay tuned, because, we love doing this, and we're out looking at new places to race and new places to off-road. And, we're looking at other states and, just growing this thing. So again, it's like, we're excited about what we've accomplished with the Mint, and it's really not necessarily about that, because I think we're at 10% of where we can take it with the Mint.
Oh, absolutely.
And so we want to do 4 of those a year, 6 of those a year. And everybody wants it. So it's just a matter of finding some locations and finalizing some deals. So that's what we've been working on.
Yeah. So, let's go and talk about UTVs real quick. I know, obviously, you've got the UTV World Championship. I'm highly involved with Polaris. You guys have been, highly involved with Polaris, over the years. But we got to talk about the UTV industry, because we've got literally a war going on in the UTV industry right now. And I think this is, and I mean this in the best of terms. And I think you ask any manufacturer, they're all excited about it. There for a while, it was just Polaris. And then, Can-Am got involved. And, Yamaha's been highly successful in short course. They're still trying to figure out their desert program. But now all of a sudden we've got this big announcement from Honda. Kawasaki's teasing this brand new vehicle that's coming. You've got, the Arctic Cat, Textron, whatever we're going to call those things that, that those guys are doing. Like, Matt, I mean, people for the longest time are like, we need manufacturers back involved in off-road. And I'm looking at it going, well, what are you guys looking at? Because I'm looking at a crazy manufacturer war going on right now.
Yeah, it's good. Look, competition is good, and that's ultimately that's ultimately what racing's about. Is it's a proving ground, right? Like, bring the best equipment, your best team, your best driver, and let's sort it out. And we knew that this was going to happen in the UTV market, and thank God for Polaris. It's showing everybody the way. I mean, they really, were the ones who they weren't the first ones to make a sport model. That actually was Arctic Cat, but they were the first ones to make one that just, really kicked ass, and it changed everything. Now, it's changing our culture. It's evolving it, and I think for the better. Now you don't need to know a secret handshake and somebody's cousin to find a race car or find out how to get into this world. You can go to a dealership and upfit a car with safety equipment and come race them in. You're talking about, like, if you qualify for financing, you're now a $200 something payment a month, plus your few grand worth of upfitting for safety, and you're racing them in. You're racing UTV Worlds in the rally class. That's never happened before. So it's gives us an opportunity to share our culture and share off-road racing with a global audience, and really people all over the place. Before this, it was very difficult to get into this form of racing. It still is, frankly. Compared to other forms of racing, we pretty much have a closed loop, and we need to do a better job of opening that up. And UTVs are the way to it, and the way of the future. Look, the reality is, part of the reason that we started vintage racing at the Mint was we knew that there was going to be this evolution, and many of the cars that are out there racing were going to basically be pushed into that vintage class. Now, it's not to say that we don't want those people racing. We do. I don't care if you're racing a VW, class 11, or a trick truck or a trophy truck. I want you racing. That's the point. But UTVs have just greatly expanded who can do this and how easy it is. And no, that's great. And I'm excited for all the other manufacturers, man. I'm excited for Honda. I'm excited for Kawasaki, Can-Am, really all these guys that are entering into this market, because, they're going to come with new ideas. Like, one of the things that, I thought was brilliant on Yamaha's part is they didn't come out with the same thing that Polaris did. They went, you know what, we're gonna make a shiftable unit that's more like a Porsche, and we're gonna focus on this user. And they did, and they've cultivated that user very good. Yeah. So as they come out with their, we know there's a 4-seater coming from them. And that's exciting. We know that there's something coming from Kawasaki. We know that there's another new product coming from Can-Am, and we know that there's, Polaris is just about to drop a big one too. So it's gonna continue to evolve the vehicles, and they're already, hands down, just remarkable vehicles for the money. I've spent, I do thousands of miles a year in UTVs, and the reason I chose the UTV platform is the economics, and the really the fun ratio. It's like, look, I can load UTVs on trailers right now, head to Baja, do a few thousand miles, wash them off, go to Moab, do Moab, wash them off, go do the Rubicon Trail, wash them off, go ride out here, and somewhere in there I should probably do a move change, but you know how it works.
It's so true, man. Well, that's what's great. They're so universal. You can just, any situation you can put them in, and you're going to be able to get through them. And I don't know if there's ever been such a diverse product for off-road, and I mean off-road in the big general, means, because before it was like, you had to have a Jeep for the rocks, and you had to have, this to go in the desert, and like now you have a UTV, and it's like, it just does everything, and I think that's really been one of the special things to come out of that, is now people don't have to have, I go back to the surfing thing, a quiver, depending on what kind of wave you're going to surf. Now you just have one general, UTV that'll do everything. You don't need the quiver anymore.
Yeah, you can change your setup to specific uses and things like that, but you're right. It's a very diverse platform, and again, it's opening up a ton of opportunity. 2 years ago, when we had the Peninsula run, we were working with the Dynamic Racing team, and we did 250 miles a day for 4 days in a row, and we had one belt go bad, and I think we had one flat. That was like the cleanest, funnest, pre-run I'd ever had. And I've done it with everybody, in every sort of fancy vehicle, and it's always like, days of drama fixing transmissions or something, right? And it was just because we were in a vehicle platform that, it was simple and it was well suited for what we're doing. So I'm very impressed with really all the vehicles out there, and I'm excited that there's more manufacturers getting involved. It's going to create more opportunity and really more, more excitement for everybody. It is, one of the most exciting classes right now because the field is so stacked with talent, and people. But, I think what I'm seeing right now is, man, it's going to be hard to beat Phil Blurton. That guy is so fast right now. It's incredible.
Dude, and I agree. And I'm a Polaris guy, but Blurton, I've talked about it on the show before, dude is on fire. And, I don't, there's another kid coming out of the Midwest, and when he comes and does the desert full time, I think he's going to be another Phil. But Kyle Cheney. And, this kid is destroying everybody in short course. And he went to King of the Hammers, had a hell of a run in his very first time ever, did no homework. But I think, at some point, and Cheney said, he's like, dude, short course isn't my forte. He actually said that on the live stream. We all started laughing. I'm like, dude, if short course isn't your forte and you're winning this much, I would hate to compete against you in something that was your forte. But I think Kyle Cheney's another one, dude. He's just like Phil Blurton, came out of nowhere, and everybody's like, man, how's this kid so fast?
But that's cool because, being from the Midwest, he would not have the opportunity to do this if it wasn't a universal platform like the UTV platform is, right? And that's what's exciting to me. I mean, you and I talked about this, when trophy carts started happening, we saw a whole new generation of kids beginning at a younger age and having a better skill set by the time they got into other vehicles. And R.J. Anderson was the front of that wave. Well, now that's happening times whatever, 1,000 in UTVs because of the 170 and the 570. And, now we've got UTV racing in the Midwest, on the East Coast, in the South, right? And obviously in the West and all over Baja. That's the other thing that, is kind of, it doesn't surprise me because the racing was already there. But now you have a rising middle class in Mexico, and man, they're all about it. They are all about it. So it's really cool, and I think it's going to continue to grow and connect off-road culture, domestically and globally.
Yeah, well, and I think that's what you start talking about Mexico, and it's like, man, I start thinking, it's like, yeah, out there somewhere is the next Abdelli or the next Empudia or the next Vidosela, and I think that's what's got me excited. And I think, it's got a lot of the Mexican off-road fans, because if you've never been to Baja, I like to say we've got some, some hardcore off-road fans in the States. You've never seen anything unless you've seen a Baja off-road fan, they have their heroes in Robbie Gordon and Bryce Menzies and Rob Mack, but there's something special for the Mexican off-road fans when one of their own from Mexico actually succeeds in the sport, and I that has me excited for off-road culture, because I think the more countries we get involved, with the stars of the sport, I think the better off the whole sport's going to be.
No, I totally agree. I mean, I started going to Baja when I was 13, so I've been going for a long time, and I love it, and I'll continue to go. And they're the Mexicans in Baja are an important part of off-road racing culture. That is, that's our backyard. So it's important for that to be connected both, down there and up here. We go out of our way to invite all the Mexican race teams to come up and race with us. I love that part of off-road, that it connects cultures, So I think that part's totally cool. But I agree with you. I think there's a lot of young kids that are coming up through the ranks racing UTVs in Mexico and up here. I mean, and I'm excited for the future. So it's really cool.
All right, so this weekend we've got obviously Mint 400. It is on World of X Games television. Give us a rundown once again, Matt, times, airings, and the party there in Temecula.
Yeah, so it's 11 East Coast time, 11:30, and then 1:30 Pacific time. So we are having a premiere. It's open to everybody. You can bring your friends, your family. Kids are welcome. It's at Doffo Winery, Doffo Winery in Temecula. And we're going to be there a little bit early and sample the wine. So, they open at 10 o'clock.
Yeah, you're pre-gaming, man.
Well, what's funny is when I went there, I was reminded that, we kind of started the champagne popping at the end of the races, right, in off-road. And part of that was us taking a page out of other forms of racing, and having an exciting finish. Well, when I was there, I was looking at all these wine bottles that were from, special wines from different races. And I'm like, dude, why aren't we doing this? So it's a pretty special place. If you love bikes, you definitely have to make it out. The Mr. Doffo's bike collection is absolutely incredible. And then two of Caselli's bikes are there too. So that's really kind of special thing that
absolutely
near and dear to my heart, with Kurt's bikes there. So it's going to be good. Everybody's going to come out and have a good time, and, industry's welcome, racers are welcome, fans are welcome. There's no cover or anything like that. You just come hang out and watch the premiere with us and have a good time.
Yeah. Well, and before we let you go, I gotta ask. I know you were there last year, 50th anniversary Crandon. I was just there 2 weeks ago, man. It's coming up. I know I'm going to see you there, right? You got to be pretty excited. Like I think as an off-road fan, like we can all separate ourselves and go. Like I think everybody in off-road that's a short course driver is going to be there, man. I mean, you got to be excited about this, Matt.
Yeah, look, I love Crandon, and to me, it's part of the DNA of off-road culture, period, right? And so, yeah, it's gonna be a big year for them, and I think it's important that everybody goes. Whether you're a spectator or whether you're, a fan or a racer or just in the industry, just hop on a plane and hop out there because there's no place like Crandon. I mean, it's an absolutely incredible track. The racing's incredible. The fans are incredible. And if you know where to get those brats, the brats are pretty incredible too.
Yeah, brats, cheese curd, and what is it? Spotted cow beer, man. That is where it's at, buddy.
Exactly.
All right, Matt. Well, it's always fun catching up, my friend. Thank you for taking the time to come on the show, and we will definitely be locked in to World of X Games for the Mint 400 this Saturday.
Yep, sounds good. Thank you, guys.
Oh, man, that was a hell of a ride. Go check out mymedic.com for the best first aid kits on the planet and save 15% with discount code JimBeaver. Again, mymedic.com, discount code JimBeaver, and save 15%. It's cheaper than a funeral.
Life is all about sound, the sound of sports, the sound at the racetrack, and the sound of your vehicle. Don't drive around listening to this. Drive around listening to the sound of performance. Gibson Performance. Gibson Performance Exhaust is the company who can turn this into this. Remember that life is all about sound, and Gibson Exhaust is the sound of performance. Check out your next catback exhaust system, headers, muffler, or UTV exhaust at GibsonPerformance.com and get more power and more sound.
Looking to have some fun on four wheels? Dirtfish Rally School has you covered. Packing as much adrenaline and adventure as you can handle into high-performance all-wheel drive and rear-wheel drive Subaru rally cars is where the fun begins at Dirtfish. Just 30 minutes outside of Seattle and Snoqualmie, you'll get a chance to train up to 3 full days with some of the country's best instructors and be put through the high-octane rush of rally on mud, dirt, and tarmac. Get started today and call 425-888-7715 or visit us online at dirtfish.com and use code 911 for a 15% discount. And that's all we got here on today's Full Parts Down and Dirty Show Off-Road Edition, powered by Polaris Razor. Thanks to Matt Martelli for calling in. Thank you guys for putting up with my shenanigans and my rant at the beginning of the show. Seriously, thank you guys. Make sure to check out mymedic.com. Use the coupon code JimBeaver. It'll get you 15% off. And JB Dirtfish will get you 15% off at Dirtfish Rally School on all those classes. Yes, thank you guys for tuning in. It's been a fun one. At JimBeaver15 on social media. Rate, review, subscribe on Facebook. All that good stuff. Check out the Down and Dirty National Show. Check out Project Action. doing some fun stuff with my good friend Brojack as well as Steve Torrance. I also got Indy car prodigy Colton Herta on the show as well. So, and also got some really, really big announcements coming next week. Be sure and watch our social channels for that. Thank you guys once again for tuning in, and we will see you guys next week right here on the Down and Dirty Show Off-Road Edition. Well, I guess full of parts Down and Dirty Show Off-Road Edition, powered by Polaris RZR. Have a great week. See you next time.
4WP is more than a store. We're truck and Jeep experts and have been for over 50 years. From wheel and tire upgrades to full custom builds, 4WP has you covered. Whether you want to order the best parts online or shop in store, do the work yourself, or get it done by a pro, all roads lead to 4WP. Do your rig right. Shop online or find your store at 4WP.com.